Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Pretty excited to have returning astrologer Karin with Little Blue Lotus Astrology with me. She's a crowd favorite. I know she's one of my favorites. And today we're going to be talking about something important, but also something really cool and exciting, which is Kamala Harris's astrology and Tim Walz's astrology. Now, I always go off script. There's no script, as you guys know if you watch me, but I'm going to go way off the road here into four-wheel drive mode and tell you I talked to Karin a few days ago, and she mentioned, because what I've seen of Tim Walz's astrology is nobody knows his birth time. So everybody's using the noon birth time, which is like, we don't know when you were born, so we're just going to use this. That's kind of like what astrologers go to. But the thing is that Karin has some kind of dark web backroom connections because she's always pulling this stuff out. Like, I got this person's birth chart. I'm like, how did you get it? Don't ask. Can't tell you.
I got a guy.
Cannot divulge my secrets.
Yeah.
So she found what we think is a birth time for Tim Walz. We can't be 100% sure, but it feels like it matches him. So this is pretty groundbreaking here. So we're really going to get a really good look at these two wonderful new leaders for the United States of America. If you guys are not familiar with Karin, she does have a YouTube channel called Little Blue Lotus Astrology. That's on YouTube. She does have some openings. I'm telling you guys, every time she comes on, she gets booked for months in advance. She does have some openings coming up in October. They're going to disappear. So if you're interested in having a reading with her, which I have had many readings with her, and I highly recommend her, go ahead to her website, littlebluelotus.org, for her readings. But her YouTube channel is Little Blue Lotus Astrology. And I'll put all that information in the description so you don't have to worry about a thing. Let's move on and let's get Karin talking about what we're all here, and that is to understand more about Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Thank you so much for coming on. How are you today, Karin?
Oh, I'm great today, Susan. Thanks for having me. It's always great to be the other part of the dynamic duo when I'm here with you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I was really excited about looking at the charts. I had looked at Kamala's before and I was really excited about it. But then when I saw Tim Walz, I thought, oh, an old white guy. And then I tuned into a video that, popped up right after I saw the picture of him getting into a limo as her choice. And immediately that energy that came off of the video from his face and speaking, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Who is this guy? So I have to say, I kind of have a crush on Tim Walz.
I think the whole world has a crush on one or the other of them, to be honest with you. Men, women, doesn't matter.
Totally, totally. And my son, who believed in Santa Claus way past the time when most kids believe in Santa Claus, I said, well, what do you think of Tim Walz? And he said, she picked Santa Claus.
Oh,
she picked Santa Claus. And I thought,
nice.
Yeah, she kind of did. So anyway, but Kamala's chart they're fascinating. Both of them are fascinating. They're fascinating together. And Kamala, of course, we all know that, most of us probably know that she has a Libra sun. And Libra is the sign of the scales, the sign of justice. So she's the negotiator. She's the diplomat. She's the person who can see all sides of all questions before she can make her move. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting, because as I watch you talk about her many times, and you talk about how she is not going to be swayed by her emotions. If you're a Democrat or a Republican, if you did something dirty, she's going to be on you. Well, one thing that I want to bring out about that is that Libra is the sign of the scales, right? We just said that. The scales are the only inanimate symbol for all of the signs in the zodiac. The only inanimate symbol. All the other symbols are animal, half man, half animal. But Libra just the scales. So there's what we have. What you were feeling is this feeling of coldness. It's a machine. It's made out of metal. It doesn't care. And if her primary drive is to find justice and to find fairness, those scales aren't going to be swayed one way or the other. I don't want to hear your story. I don't want to hear your excuses. There are no excuses. So I just thought that that was interesting because that's the feeling that you kept talking about Kamala. She can't be bought. She can't be swayed. She can't be corrupted. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that, yeah, that's Libra rising. So there is a coldness about her. If you get her on the wrong side of her, she's just, that warmth that we see, that comes from her Aries moon. It's a fiery moon. People want to be around the fire. It's warm, it's entertaining, it's comforting. So you've got that wonderful Aries moon, which is also very attuned to justice and helping the people that are oppressed, people that are underserved, people that are ignored in the justice system. But when it comes to dealing with the decision that's coming down, it's the scales, it's cold, it's detached. It's like, nope, you did this, this is what happens. Now, I found it interesting also that her south node is in Sagittarius. Her descendant is also Sagittarius. The South Node, as most of you know, has a lot to do with our past life patterns. Sagittarius can be a judge. I think she's been a judge in other lifetimes. I really felt strongly that she'd been a judge in other lifetimes, but now that she had to get back down to the people, so to speak, to get out of that judge persona, that more of a people are looking at a judge through a microscope that they don't look through when they're looking at a lawyer, right? But her karma was to rise in the ranks. So she's going to be under the microscope. She is under the microscope, but I think she has some past lives as a judge. And so the opposite of that, her North Node is in Gemini on her Gemini rising. And so that's more of a, well, let's take our ideas seriously, but let's be a little bit more lighthearted about this. Let's get more detail oriented. Let's be able to talk to the people about anything that they want to talk about. Geminis tuck away all these little pieces of information, and then they're in a conversation, whether it's in the grocery store or a cocktail party or a rally, and they can bring out that piece of information, and it's like, oh, this is another piece of the puzzle. This is entertaining, but it's also knowledge bearing. So that's her personality of being able to talk and be all things to all people kind of thing. But like when it comes to making the tough decisions, she's really kind of a badass. You got that Aries moon, which is impatient and fiery, and it's like, keep up, keep up, keep up. And the Libra, which is like, okay, no, don't do the crime if you can't do the time, because I'm giving you the time. She has a Mars and Leo in the third house. Mars and Leo is somebody who likes to do things in a big way, somebody who's very joyful, who can connect to joy very easily, somebody who's comfortable being on the stage in front of a lot of people. Leo is the performer. Leo is the is the dramatic person who's a great storyteller because they have fun, colorful ways of putting things, and they're comfortable in front of a crowd. So Mars and Leo is, yeah, that's kind of an underneath driving force for her too, that she wants to have fun. Whatever she's doing that's serious, let's have some fun while we're doing it. So this whole thing about Trump talking about her laugh, just like, dude, she's got Mars and Leo. She likes to laugh. She's got a great laugh. It's contagious. People want to hear her laugh. People want to make her laugh. So people don't want to make him laugh. I don't even know. Have we ever seen him laugh?
I don't think we've ever seen him laugh. I mean,
ever. Even
the
in
rest of the
80s.
polar ice caps would melt. I mean, probably some kind of terrible thing would happen.
Some terrible thing.
Because no one has ever, people have talked about that no one's ever seen him laugh. That's actually a a talking point.
Oh, it's a thing.
It's
Okay.
a thing. No, it's a thing. People have
No one's
started
ever seen him
because
laugh.
he did attack her, and people are saying, well, wait a minute, when has he ever laughed? So yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah. Yeah. She likes to laugh. She's got a great laugh. People want to make her laugh. People like to laugh with her. The top of her chart, which is her destiny and her fate, is it's Pisces. She's got Saturn very close with karmic degrees close to Saturn in Aquarius, close to that Pisces um, top of her chart. And I thought this was interesting because the bottom of her chart, of course, would mean that it's Virgo. And when I look at a chart, I look at the bottom of the chart and I see this is where this person is coming from. This is their family background, maybe, and even their extended family background. It's a very Virgonian kind of consciousness of being very driven, very service driven, detail oriented, but very service driven and critical and kind of judgmental. And so the top of the chart, when I look at someone's point at the top of the chart, not only their destiny, but what are they trying to reach? What are they trying to incorporate in their soul consciousness in this lifetime? And for her, it's Pisces, which is forgiveness, which is compassion, which is, okay, enough with the machine stuff. There has to be a point where you can say, I can see why they're in the place they're in. I can forgive that. I can understand that. I can feel some sadness that this person has ended up in this place, going to jail, going to prison, having to, whatever, pay for their criminal activities, because it didn't have to be that way. They could have taken another route. They could have taken another path. And that feeling that you should have for somebody that's really going to spend the rest of their life in misery because of the consequences of their actions. So that's something that she's reaching for. Her soul is reaching for in this lifetime. But I think the Saturn in Aquarius in that karmic degree close to the top of the chart, her destiny, has to do with, I think, being like the harbinger of the Aquarian age. Let's take those ideas, and it's because Saturn crystallizes things. Let's take those ideas that are coming down to us from the ether about equality and the brotherhood and sisterhood of humankind, and let's make it real. Let's make it real. Let's make it real for all of us. And she has what we call a grand trine in air. A grand trine is when you've got three planets or three important points in the chart in the same element. And so it means that it's a mastery from past lives that she comes into this lifetime with, that she can easily tap into. And air is all about ideas and communication. And so, this is what she's so good at because she's mastered it in other lifetimes. She's been a spokesperson. She's been a spokesperson. She's been an orator. Oh, I think besides being a judge, I think she might have been one of those ministers that used to go travel around the country. They'd hit a town that was just devastated by, smallpox or diphtheria, and they'd have these tent revivals, right? And they're standing in the tent and they're telling the people that have survived this horrible plague, that have just lost, many of their loved ones, sometimes whole families wiped out. And he's telling them that this was a scourge from God because of their godless ways, and thundering to them that they have to be better. Otherwise, it's just gonna, they're going to pay for it some more. But, an orator that was able to move the people. She has these oratorial skills like Obama has that can move huge groups of people. She's had those from the past, and now she's using it for a great purpose, right?
Wow.
To lift
Yeah.
us all up.
I totally get that. I can even see her going all the way back to some sort of Greek or oration. Like, is that where the philosophers, where,
Right,
you know what I mean? Like
right.
some of the original orators. Like, to me, I
Mhm.
can even bring that energy all the way back to there. And I think
Yeah.
it's interesting what you said earlier too about her having been a judge in a past life, because I just saw this cute little video of her and Tim sitting at the table talking about tacos and how he didn't answer the phone because he didn't recognize the caller ID. So he didn't pick up the phone she's like, why didn't you pick up the phone, Tim? It was great. Anyway, she
Mhm.
said, and they were just talking about each other's past and what has inspired them. And she said she was inspired by Thurgood Marshall.
Okay.
There you go. And when she
Yeah.
said it, like, I got chills, like, gosh, I wonder if she wanted to be a judge. I
Uh-huh.
wonder if she really somewhere deep inside wanted to be a judge.
Hmm.
And here it is in the astrology. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's in her soul. She remembers being a
she
judge.
remembers it. She
She
remembers
remembers that power. She remembers that. It's
it.
such an elevated position.
And the fair use of it, the Libras, the
Mhm.
fairness, right? And the
Right.
fair, there's this onus to be fair. And
Hmm.
that is exactly what my spirit guide said about her. She will be fair.
Yeah.
She might be hard, she
Yeah.
will be fair.
Yeah.
And that's very important to her. That is extremely important for her to be fair. And I think that also harkens a little bit back to your analogy of her trying to have that compassion of forgiveness of people who have sinned, right? Like it goes back to that. I want to be fair, give you a fair ruling, a fair judgment, a
Right.
fair opportunity. But fairness also means allowing them to have been, have fixed their problem. I've been renewed. I've met the challenges. I'm now a new person. Do you allow
Right.
them to do that? So that's
Right.
that's part of her thing, I think. So I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you.
no,
Are you
that's good. I'm glad you got the same idea. I like that idea of her. I can see her being a male in ancient Greece, talking to students, talking to the populace. Yeah, because so much of our modern philosophy came from that time.
absolutely? And I wonder if she's not channeling. I'm wondering if she doesn't have some claircognizance.
Uh-huh.
She doesn't know where it comes from. It just comes. Like you said about Geminis, which I didn't know, but now I get it because I have a good friend who's a Gemini. And man, he tell a story, right?
Hmm.
And I love that the way you said they kind of collect these disparate bits of information and then
Hmm.
plug it in where it counts. And that
Hmm.
kind of looks like channeling because you're like, wow, where did you pull that out of? Right?
Hmm. Right.
It could be Gemini, it could be channeling, it could be a combination.
Right. Right. Well, I just realized there was something else I did want to say about her chart that it might have something to do with channeling, actually. She has Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, in her 12th house. And traditionally, that means that you've got a guardian angel, that you can come close to danger many times and somehow miraculously get pulled out of the way at the last minute kind of thing. So she does have that, which is a nice thing to know about a
Oh,
president to be.
yes. Yes. She might need to count on that. So it's kind of like the 9 lives, the cat
Mhm.
planet. She has
Right,
an extra life in there. She needs it. That's really good to know.
right. But it's also it's trining. She's got Uranus, Pluto, and Venus in Virgo in the fourth house. And when you were talking about the channeling, and I thought, oh, the trine, which is a beautiful aspect between two or more planets, where it's harmonious and also an indication of a mastery from the past. Her tribe, her ancestors are the fourth house. The 12th house is the subconscious, and the Jupiter is there, and they're beautifully interacting with each other. And I'm like, she's got ancestors she might be channeling ancestors, Susan.
She's a powerhouse. She's hooked up.
She's hooked up, yeah.
She's hooked up to everything. Like,
Mhm.
just like this. It's just like Biden, right? Like some people, and Trump really, some people are
Mhm.
here to do the thing they're here to do, and
Mhm.
they actually make it to the place they're to make. And she's supposed to be president. And here she is. And
Yeah.
these are her gifts, right? Like I'm sure she has some things that are like, maybe,
Mhm.
like we all do. but she's got some beautiful gifts for this, which is
Yeah,
fantastic to hear.
she does have some beautiful gifts. I mean, we're all human, so she's going to be human as well. But yeah, she's wonderfully built for this purpose at this time. She's exactly what we need. Just like Biden was for this time and this purpose, he was exactly what we needed.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say about Kamala. Kamala. I don't want to mispronounce her name. Oh, and she's inspiring. Okay, we did talk about that. She's got a wonderful Neptune in the chart. And Neptune for some of us fortunate people, if it's aspected a certain way, it gives you the ability to inspire others, which goes back to the orator in ancient Greece, which goes back to the minister pumping people up in the tents, which goes back to her rallies, her ability to inspire others. We all have Neptune in our charts, but very few of us have the ability to inspire other people. So that's what I've got to say about, oh, here's one more thing. I'm sorry, I looked at my notes. Her part of fortune, the part of fortune in our charts is an interesting little part that most Western astrologers do not pay a lot of attention to. And
why not? We all want to know what that is.
I know, and your light bulb and my light bulb's going off about future class. But the part of fortune is the only thing that's left from a very ancient Arabian astrological system, where I think they only used 3 planets, and then they used mathematics to calculate like 365 for points or parts in the chart. Part of death, part of marriage, part of children, part of education, part of friends, part of illness. The only thing that survived from that system is the part of fortune. And the part of fortune tells us where we get the most joy and fulfillment in our life. Why don't we pay attention to this, astrologers?
I don't never even heard of it.
Oh, see? So her part of fortune is in Sagittarius, close to the descendant in her chart. And it is trined the moon in Aries. And remember, I just said a trine is a beautiful flow of positive energy between 2 parts, 2 planets. And so her moon in Aries, which likes to fight for the underdog, which doesn't like to dilly-dally around, which likes to make decisions, she feels great when she does that. That's her sense of satisfaction in her life, and her sense of fulfillment and joy comes from being able to do that. All right, let's do it. Let's get it done. Just like you've been saying in your videos about the United States in the next couple of years. I mean, she's just going to, all right, you know what? You don't want to do it. I'm going to do it.
I'll go
Write it
around
up.
you.
I'm going to sign it by noon tomorrow,
Yes.
And
did
she's
she
just
tell
going to be
Tim?
really pumped about doing that.
Exactly. She told Tim, you can sleep when you're dead. So that's what he tells everybody. I can't sleep when I'm dead. My boss said so. That's it,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's it. So the part of fortune, I mean,
Uh-huh.
like if one were to look at their chart, like I'm over here on my other computer. But anyway,
Okay.
if one were to look at their chart, what are you looking for? Is there
Okay,
a
you're
planet?
looking for a circle with a cross in it.
Crosshairs, basically.
crosshairs.
Maybe
Okay,
if you're from the
crosshairs
South,
in a
you
circle.
recognize that as cross or the hood, which I'm from both.
Okay.
You recognize that as somebody's got, or maybe you play video games. Okay, so it looks like that, and it's
Mhm.
it's on your chart.
Right. Most programs will print the part of fortune on your chart.
It doesn't show up in the description like it always has the planets and whatnot.
Yeah, it'll say part of fortune.
Oh, it will.
If that
Okay.
particular program will printed it on the chart, it'll say you'll have the part of fortune. It'll say part of fortune. Yeah.
I'm
And
sure you told me this about me, but I don't remember. Okay.
And one interesting thing about the part of fortune, when I taught my first astrology class in the 90s in my house, I had a gentleman that came to the class, and he had a very interesting mind, a very interesting way of looking at things. So I'm going through the planets for the class. We go through all the planets, and at like the second or third class, and he says, "Well, but where's the planet for Earth?" And I'm like, I don't know. Where is the planet for Earth? So after class, I called my teacher and I said, "Where's the planet for Earth?" And she said, "It's the part of fortune." Yeah, it's the part of fortune.
You guys, we got extra credit today. We got extra credit. We didn't even know we were getting this extra credit, but now we have a whole new thing to open our charts up and look at and scratch our heads about and make an appointment with Karin over. Okay. So wow. So hers is in Sag and it trines with Aries, and that is why she gets so excited about being busy. And I love when she calls Tim coach, because you can tell that this man hadn't been a coach for a decade or two, and yet she's really on to this whole coach thing. And even in this video today, she was like, tell me about your coach, and she's like, you were coaching a team that had no wins. And he said, yeah, we had no wins. No one would join our team. We had a big school. No one would join our team. He said, but by the end of the first season, we had one score. But he ended up bringing it to the state championship. She loved that, because I think that she loves the goal setting. She's a goal setter. So she loves the action. She loves goal setting. And that's where she gets her completion from, and her fortune and her happiness. Now let's see what we can do. Where are you going next?
Okay, so that was a great segue into Tim's chart. So I watched him talk a little bit, fell in love with him, looked him up online, and found that he has 3 planets in Aries: Jupiter, Sun, and Mars in Aries. It's like, well, that's what we're responding to. We're responding to that dynamic. And then when I learned that he was a coach, I thought, well, of course, the ability to, you listen to him and you want to be on his team. No matter what team it is, you want to be on his team, right? That's the very high vibration of Aries, is to lift everybody up and to want to make sure everybody's included. And if his rectified chart is correct, he has a Cancer rising. And as you know, Susan, Cancer risings, they want to be connected. They want to make everybody feel connected. We don't want any people outside the circle feeling ignored, feeling unseen, unheard. Bring them in, bring them all. Let's bring everybody in. We're all going to do the same thing. We all have the same goal. So Jupiter next to the Sun, yeah, he is Santa Claus. He is Santa Claus. Jupiter is benevolent and warm and happy and lucky, funny. Mars next to the Sun energizes him. He is like the Energizer Bunny. He probably doesn't sleep a lot, even without Kamala poking at him, giving him a list of things to do. And that kind of Aries energy is that's somebody that gets things done. He's not going to be your traditional kind of vice president.
Nope.
Sitting around going, does the president want to see me? Do I get to see the president today? With nothing to do, or little piddly stuff to do. She's going to work him and work him hard.
See, and that's what I saw before. I don't know when, but anyway, I saw that she would use her vice president as a mini me, as a cat. Like the way they described it was, she's the general and he's the captain. So, you're going to send your captain out to do things. I mean, she's going to give him a list of things to do, and he's going to have his own thing that he's going to be in charge of, and she's going to give him some leeway to get it done. Like, she's the kind of general that's like, okay, also like a coach, okay, let's all get out on the field, then we'll all meet back later and we'll see how you did. But she's going to give you free reign. She's going to check your work, right? But she's going to give you free reign to see, because she believes in people. She believes that you can even do better than you think you can do, or better than she thinks you can do. So she wants to give you that ability to do that.
Right.
So here we are, and everything you're telling me about him makes sense as to the role, the relationship that I thought she was looking for in a VP. So that's great.
His Mars in Aries is going to sit next to her Moon in Aries. And when you look at two people with the Moon and Mars on top of each other, sometimes that means a lot of fights, a lot of arguments. If you're looking at like a married couple with the Moon and the Mars on top of each other, It means it's hard to live with that person because the other person is constantly trying to get that other person to do something. Well, the Aries moon already wants to do something. And his Mars in Aries, I think, is going to, when she's tired, when she's discouraged, when she's like, Tim, I just don't know anymore. I just had the week from hell. He's going to be like, he's going to do the coaching thing with her.
He's the
He's going
cheerleader.
to, because he's taking it to such a high level that
Wow.
he's going to be bringing up that Aries moon that feels like, I don't know if I can get up tomorrow morning. And he's like, okay, let's talk about it. And by the time they're through talking about it, she's like, wow, what happened? I
Yeah.
completely feel energized and optimistic. You know, Aries are very optimistic and idealistic. Again, that trait that you just talked about. The idealism of the Aries is that they just expect the best from you because they expect the best from their existence, right? You know,
Yeah,
they just believe that things are going to turn out
it's
right.
true. It's true.
And which is one of the secrets of the universe. If we all believed that, better for us, because usually it's us getting in our own way, being afraid or being negative. But yeah, Aries is like, no, no, don't bother me with that. Everything's going to be fine. You're going to do your best. The people are going to do their best. We're all going to do our best. And we're going to have this fantastic outcome. So he has that. This is also, I think, a very strong indication of past lives together.
I do
Uh,
too. I do too. Absolutely.
it seems like a military kind of, but also a family kind of thing.
Yeah, I almost saw them as brother and sister.
Yeah.
But I can also see them in a military role together too. They've done this before, this
Hmm.
Batman Robin, I keep wanting to say, or Batgirl
Hmm.
Robin. I often refer to
Hmm.
them like that. They've done this role before. They've been in this. And the word that keeps coming in, I got to just say it so they'll stop saying it to me, is synastry.
Hmm.
Synastry, not symmetry, synastry,
Right.
is very important for them. They have a synastry together.
Right. And that word is what astrologers use to describe comparing two charts. What you're asking for when you want to compare your chart with a boyfriend's or a girlfriend's or a family member, you're looking at the synastry between the charts.
Wow, I
So
didn't know that.
that's the word. That's the word. Now his north node is in Cancer, close to his rising sign, if this rectified chart is correct. And I kind of think it could be because of that feeling that I get from him of wanting to connect people, which
Yeah.
is a Cancer thing. Cancer, your rising sign also can somehow influence how your personal appearance. And I see that round moon face that he has, and that's kind of a lunar thing. That's a Cancer thing. And it seems like he has this really pale, kind of milky, beautiful milky skin. And that's a Cancer thing too. So I'm like, this could be the right chart. This could be the right chart. But his north node in Cancer on the rising sign, I think this is what he's been doing with all of his other careers. He's done it with his coaching career, he's done it with his teaching career. I mean, he knew what his path was, I think, right away in life, and he just took to it like a duck to water.
Yeah. Yeah.
He he really cares. That Cancer rising, he really cares.
It's genuine.
Um, it's genuine. It's a very protective kind of energy. It's a very nurturing kind of energy. So I love that about him. Kamala doesn't have a lot of that in her chart. So I think that's something that he's going to help bring to her as well. You know, he'll make a point of saying something about, well, did you notice the secretary of somebody, they didn't look that good today at the meeting? And she'll be like, what are you talking about? And he'll be like, no, I'm going to find out what's going on. And she'll be like, okay. And then he'll come back to her and say, yeah, I found out, there was a death in the family or something. So he's bringing that to her to help her pay attention to things like that, because that's important too. And I know she's not going to have time for that, but he's going to make sure that she notices that. He has He's got an Aquarian moon. So moon and her Saturn and Aquarius together, that is another real strong indication of past life, of one of them being responsible for the other. But when you have an Aquarian moon, this is a wonderful thing to have for someone in his position or her position, but for him especially. Aquarian moons can take a problem that has been unsolvable, that is old and tangled and complicated and a million pieces, and he can get down to where it all started, unwind it, and go, okay, now I know how to fix this. Because this is where this is what went wrong, and this is when it happened, and this is who it happened to, and now we can solve this problem. I saw that, I was like, wow, that has nothing to do with his chart being rectified or not. His moon is in Aquarius. He's an amazing problem solver. Amazing problem solver. Let me take a look at my notes. Sure, I know there's other things that they're working with. Okay, he's got his Venus in Gemini, and she has all that she's got that Gemini rising, that Gemini North Node. So another indication of the fact that they've known each other before. There's a camaraderie, there's a common ground, there's just a bedrock of feeling of positivity between the two of them. They trust each other. They trust each other. That just doesn't come around with just one lifetime together. That's with, I've got your back and I've had your back and you know it. So we can move forward and know that neither one of us is going to hurt the other one, throw the other one under the bus. They have his Mercury is trining her Virgonian stuff. So they are able to problem solve and get results in the same kind of material way where you can touch and feel it and see it and measure it. And his moon squares her sun if it's in no, it's not in Capricorn. Sorry, that was before I got the rectified chart. Oh, I see what it is. His moon squares her Mercury. Okay, so when you got two people and the moon squares the Mercury, his moon, well, it is an Aquarius, which isn't a real emotional kind of moon. It's more of a cerebral kind of moon, but her Mercury is in Taurus, I believe. Oh, Scorpio. Okay. So she might have the feeling of wanting to dig deeper, and he's just like, well, let's just do this. Let's just solve. I just gave you the answer to the problem. She's like, yeah, but I got a feeling that there's more to it. And he's like, no, we really just need to do this now. So the square is tension. It's like there's a little bit of stress there, but again, the tension pushes us to accomplish things together. So I don't have any doubt that they'll be able to work out, because they have so many positive aspects together that they can always fall back on those positive aspects they have together. The trust, the feeling of affection they actually have for each other is real.
It's like they're brother and sister or family, when you can give each other a load of crap, but anybody else comes for you, not gonna happen, right? That's what I think this tension is. The tension is between them in private. They might snip at each other, but it's just private, and it's just it's because they're so close, right? But I think that outwardly it's like when you've met somebody and you feel like you've known them your whole life because you've known them in a past life. That would be why. So I agree. I saw the tension too, and I wondered about it. So this explains to me why it's there. But I really think that it's like brother sister bitchy tension, not like you get it's just a thing.
Right. If it were a married couple or a romantic couple, I would say that, well, the person with the Mercury, which would be her, isn't paying enough attention to the other person's emotional responses, because the moon has to do with how you respond and how you react emotionally. So the square is like, you're really not listening to me. You're not feeling me here. But again, it's also a push to solve the problem. Because what you fall back on when you compare charts is like, well, how many of the positive aspects do they have? How many avenues do they have to get through the feeling of, you're not listening to me? You know, they can fall back on those positive things and they can always find a way through. So
Nice.
that's really great. And then the other person comes back later and says, yeah, you know what? I think I understand what you were talking about.
That's what I think is
Go,
going to happen.
yeah.
She's going to come to him and say, you were right. And then it's going to take her a little bit of time to
Mhm.
trust that, because when it's all said and done, she's going to be president. So, no matter what anybody says, she's very aware that it's her final decision.
Mhm.
And she's never going to give that away to anybody.
Right.
But after a while, she'll realize that he has this ability to be right more often than not.
Mhm.
And she'll relax a little bit more. But I think in the beginning, she's going to be pretty wound tight.
Very tight. Very tight. Now, I see for him next year, late spring, early summer, I think the transiting Saturn, the Saturn in the sky moves into Aries. So I think he's going to have to, I'm not worried about a health problem so much as him being aware that he might have to change some of his lifestyle choices. And I think his daughter is a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Not that I'm suggesting that he become a vegetarian, but just that if he has a little scare, like he goes for his checkup and the doctor's like, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, something.
That's what I feel like it is too.
Yeah, she can.
Cholesterol, blood pressure. He's
Yeah.
lost weight. Actually, if you look at him, I think right now he's probably lost a little weight. And I wonder if he's already gotten a heads up about that. But
Okay.
people are picking up some kind of health issue with him. I don't. I just don't. That's what I get. I get cholesterol.
Mhm.
Sorry, some of it's hereditary. You just can't eat like everybody else does.
Right.
You just
Right.
can't. You
Can't
gotta
eat the
have
way you used to. Um,
yeah, or like you used to, right? So yeah, I agree with that. So you feel that? Tell me again when you saw that happening
that would start to manifest like next summer.
next summer. Okay,
And again, it doesn't mean that there's an actual incident. It just means if there is, it's a very minor thing, or it's just a checkup at the doctor and he says, okay, look, you've got to take care. Look, here's the numbers. You got to take care of this. So he's a person that really needs physical exercise, and he probably doesn't have time to do it. And he's going to have to make time.
Kamala, have him out there running laps around the White House.
Why not?
She will. She'd be like, "Come on, coach,"
Yeah.
because I know she works out.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
They'll be working out. Trust me, she'd be having that man up at 4 a.m. down in the gym.
Poor Tim.
Poor Tim.
Tim.
I feel sorry for him already. I'll eat a
Yeah.
donut for you, Tim. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Um, oh, I think I was still talking. I was talking. I don't know if I finished talking about the Mars and the Moon. So, okay, so we have the Mars and the Moon. He can pick her up when she's feeling down. But the best thing about if you're vibrating that Mars and Moon on a really high level, it's a very fruitful sign. So if you're counseling a young man and a young woman who are about to get married or want to have a family, you can say, well, you see the Mars and the Moon together. You guys might drive each other a little crazy if you live, when you live together. So make sure that you guys spend time apart. And there can be the fact that it's a very fruitful, productive synastry that, yes, they can produce a family, they can produce a family business. It's very productive, very fruitful. So
They can produce a democracy. They can produce a
they're going to
democracy.
produce a democracy.
They're going to have a democracy.
They're going to have a democracy.
Let's have a new Supreme Court. Let's see all the things that they could produce together.
Yes, yes, yes. That is pretty much what I've got about those two.
Wow, that is fascinating. I love that. It's
Thank
like
you.
kind of getting to see what makes them tick.
Mhm.
And it all just makes so much sense to me, actually. One of the things I had said in my video was that he has her flank. The guides kept saying flank, flank.
Okay.
And that's a protective thing. And then when you were talking about his Cancer rising, like, and you were saying that he could humanize, he
Mhm.
could, like, I think sometimes she gets into the black and the white, like this is
Mhm.
the work,
Mhm.
and he brings her a cup of cocoa. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
what I see him doing. And I don't know anything about his wife, Tim's wife, but I feel
Mhm.
like his wife must be a strong woman. I think he is attracted to strong women. I think he
He's
likes
comfortable. He's comfortable with
he's
strong women,
comfortable
that's for
with strong
sure.
women. He's
Mhm.
comfortable bringing you the cocoa, bringing
Right.
you something, dinner. I mean, that's the Cancer rising, right? But
Right.
but also they just fit. They just really fit. I'm so glad she chose him. Right before she chose him, I had a feeling she was going to. I just didn't say anything because
Oh.
we needed to be behind whoever she chose. Like
Uh-huh.
I wasn't gonna start that whole fight.
Right.
But
Right.
anyway, to her, you know what? When you go into her energy, Tim reminds her of Biden.
Oh.
He
Okay.
reminds her of Biden. He's trustworthy,
Yeah.
trustworthy. Like you can count on this man.
Yeah.
You can fall on him. You can lean on him. You
Yeah.
can
Another
count on him
person
to
that
be there.
cannot be bought.
And
No.
that's what she likes. She's like, this guy reminds me of Biden. Because I had the same thought you did, like, no, not the old white guy. But he's my
Yeah.
age. But I
Mm-hmm.
dye my hair, Tim. Come on, get with the
Mm-hmm.
program, dude. Get some cute glasses like Karin and let's do
Oh.
this thing, Come on. Um, but so I know that was a negative because she was really courting the youth vote. They're the same
Mm-hmm.
age, right? But so
Mm-hmm.
are they on the other side of their second Saturn return then?
Okay.
You don't have to go all the way into it.
Yes, she recently had her Saturn return when it was a couple of years ago. He is in his Saturn return.
Right, Ro. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm in my second Saturn return. It's kicking my butt up
Yeah.
and down the sidewalk and out
Yeah.
the back door. But I'm holding my own.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Yeah, he's like yeah, he's in his second Saturn return.
I guess it doesn't look particularly bad because you haven't said anything about it, and you would if it did.
No, I don't see it. It's his Saturn is in 1 degree Pisces. That was a year and a half ago. So
Oh,
for him, you might not have felt this yet.
yet.
You're gonna probably be calling me after the video going, why not?
I already feel like
But
crying. I am not doing okay. I'm not
I
doing
am not doing okay. What do you mean? That sometimes when we have the Saturn return, it feels like there's a 50-pound weight that the universe just dropped on our shoulders when it starts. And then as we move through the Saturn return, because it generally takes about 2 years, we get a little bit more like we adjust to the weight. And I think he's adjusted to the weight.
He's adjusted. He's on the other side of it, is what my spirit
Yeah,
guide. He's
he's
sort of like
looking
on the other side. He's on the downhill side of the thing.
right, right.
And
He's more
so
than halfway through. Yeah.
for people that are asking your first Saturn return, I love asking people this because it's never failed me. I always ask people, what happened to you when you were 28, 29, or 30?
Mhm.
And they always say, I went back to school. I had a baby. I got divorced. Some big thing.
Right,
Always some
right.
big thing. You zigged instead of zagged, whatever.
Mhm.
Your second Saturn return happens right around like 58, 59, 60. Is that
Yeah,
generally
between like 50, 57 and 60. Yeah, somewhere around
57
there.
and 60? So if you're between 57 and 60, you for real need to be calling Karin. Because I don't know if mine is worse or I'm just a whiner because I'm like calling everybody going, how did you manage? Like I knew you when you went through it, but I didn't see you crawling under the kitchen table and crying.
Well, your Saturn, there's other things that Saturn is doing in your chart, so it's
Yeah,
not just that.
unfairly. Sorry.
Unfairly so, very unfairly so. You
It's
did
making
not
me
deserve
better.
this. Who's in charge?
It's making me a better
1
person.
800 complaints. Yeah.
1-800, yeah, complaints, exactly. Oh, I went down the cheese aisle today, you guys. I almost came out with all kind of cheese. I even videoed
Oh,
it. I said, if you know,
no.
you know. Susan is in the cheese aisle. And right there, I got chocolate. So you already know what's going down up in this house.
You're on
Uh,
vacation. You're
I'm
going
on
to,
vacation. I'm on vacation. And I just
yeah,
want to give the finger to Saturn right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Sorry.
love you, Saturn. I love you. Don't take it the wrong way. Okay, well, anyway. I know astrologers are like, planets are not bad, astrology's not bad. It's really not. It's energy. It's just
But
like
it can
life.
feel really bad. It can
I
feel really bad.
feel tired, yeah, and bad. Yeah. She told me when she did my reading, she said, I don't know if you're a napper. I'm like, I'm not. She's like, you will be after this. Like 3 days later, I was like, what happened? What hit?
She's Dawnwood, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I can't get off of this couch. Saturn, help. So anyway, you guys, this is it's really something that you just get through. Everybody gets through it. It's fine.
Everybody
It
gets through
makes
it.
you a better person. You learn through adversity. That's
Mhm.
basically it. You learn through testing of your skills, testing
Yeah,
of
that's how
your
we grow.
human broadcasting system. That's how we grow. Exactly.
That's how we
Well,
grow.
thank you so much, Karin. So you guys, again, if you don't know Karin, now you do, and you know that you have every reason to go to her YouTube channel and subscribe and encourage her to make more videos and to get a reading with her at littlebluelotus.org is her website, and her YouTube is Little Blue Lotus Astrology. Put everything down in the description of this video. Please leave us a comment about what you think, comments, ideas, whatever. We love to hear that from you, and take really good care of yourselves. Everything is, we've got Batwoman and Robin in the White House pretty soon, where, they're going to go clean up Gotham City. Did I just mix up a whole bunch of media? You're the media person.
No, that was right.
Oh, of course, because that
Yeah,
was Spirit.
yeah.
Susan was questioning, because Susan's like, I don't know nothing
No,
about what that. I need to
Batman,
double check
Gotham City. Yep,
Gotham
yep.
City. I swear, you guys, I'm not a media person. I haven't seen any media. It's weird. I know. But so when Spirit says things, I want to double check to see if it's true.
Mhm.
And I know you know, because I know that you particularly like
I'm a
media.
fan.
You're
Yeah,
you're a fan.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. And thank you, Karin. Really appreciate this.
Oh, thank you for having me, Susan.
Are
Thank you for
so
having
welcome.
me.
For entertainment purposes only.